Hello, everybody. My name is Elijah Shoaf, and I'm one of the co-founders of QLAG.
Hi everyone, I'm Riley, and I am another one of the founders of QLAG.
So we connected at first by I worked in the North Georgia Conference promoting LGBT issues, and Riley worked in the Florida Conference promoting LGBT issues, and we eventually connected through the SEJ, and we decided to go in and found QLAG, or the Queer Laity Action Group. So to give you a quick overview, right now we have a Facebook page, which is what we're primarily using to communicate and do outreach. And right now what we're trying to do is connect people, build connections across conferences in order to get people excited and involved in various organizations and activities to the benefit of our community and our goals. And so one of the first things we're launching as QLAG is we're doing a podcast a month for the 2020 year, and what we're going to be doing is interviewing LGBT laity across our conferences and just kind of getting an idea of what their experience is like and kind of talking to people who often don't really have a voice and whose stories aren't often heard in our conferences.
And now for our first episode, I'll be interviewing Elijah. What we're going to do next month is switch it around and he'll interview me in March. So, Elijah, can you give us a quick introduction?
Sure. So, uh, my name is Elijah Shoaf, but I'm commonly referred to by my friends as Eli. I live right outside of Metro Atlanta as part of the Atlanta Emory District in the North Georgia Conference, where I attend Cannon Church. I'm currently a graduating senior at Brookwood High School. Go Broncos! And I currently serve in the North Georgia Conference in a wide variety of uh, and I currently serve in the North Georgia Conference in a wide variety of positions, such as the chairperson of CCYM and as a bringer of legislation to our 2020 annual conference.
Tell us a little bit about your work in the conference.
Okay, so a good place to start off would be last year at Annual Conference 2019. I brought some legislation, a resolution, up to the floor. And basically, what spurned the work is it was on kind of LGBT youth and suicide and the risk of suicide in the LGBT community. And so, kind of what had started me on that path was in the season upcoming to that conference, or coming up to that conference, I was talking to a good friend of mine, and they told me that there was nothing in place that they knew of about what to do in a situation where someone's life is threatened by mental illness or suicide. And so, of course, I immediately kind of jumped on that and started doing some research and working, and I formulated some legislation that recognized the fact that LGBT youth are an at-risk group for suicide and need to be, paid attention to and taken care of as we are stewards of each other and to help each other to kind of get past these suicidal thoughts. And so, one of the most important parts about the legislation was that it included, it was supposed to make prioritizing that person's individual safety and mental health, it prioritized that over any sort of judgment or on behavior or perceived behavior. And so that was a very important piece of work that actually inspired me to kind of continue working in the church.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard it even spawned a commission. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So over the past year, following the passing of that resolution by 80%, which is a staggering and quite honestly amazing number. So over the year following that, I've been working with a group of team from the Commission, actually the Student Commission here over North and South Georgia, and we've been working on just suicide awareness in general because one of the things that was raised on the floor during the debate over the resolution was the fact that there are many groups that suffer from mental illness and suicide risk in our conference. And so what we've been doing with the Commission is that we've actually been working to kind of bridge the gaps between generations and kind of eliminate stigma about mental health and suicide and seeking help. And it's been just really great to kind of see words on a page and the conversation surrounding it, which was very beneficial, but actually see those words become something more and actually translate into action.
What are you working on for the 2020 annual conference?
So for 2020, CCYM, as I was recently elected chairperson, we decided to focus on the ills of segregation and kind of the lingering effects that that has caused in our church and in our conference, really targeting the evils that were inflicted upon the African American community in North Georgia by our conference when we voted to segregate and create the central jurisdiction so many years ago. And so it's really just really focusing on racial reconciliation and kind of how we can move forward in the actions, because actions are very important, the actions that we can take in order to heal these wide divides that are honestly bigger than the divides that divide us even over the debate over same-sex marriage and LGBT people's full participation in the church.
So I heard that outside of your work in the North Georgia Conference, you actually work with RMN.
Oh yeah, I do. Basically, for almost 8 months now, I've served as the budget coordinator for North Georgia's kind of RMN chapter, and we've actually been working really well and expanding. We've been pulling in great amounts of donations, and we're really gonna be able to expand our outreach come 2020. I'm really excited about everything we're doing. We're starting to build kind of these district groups in North Georgia, and it's honestly, it's just looking up and up.
So we connected through the SEJ. Could you tell us a little bit about your election?
Sure. So I actually ran with kind of this progressive slate of progressive lady that we had built out to kind of help uh, win as many progressive spots as possible to both general conference and the jurisdictional conference. And I was actually the youngest one running and the youngest elected. I was elected as an alternate, the second alternate, I believe, to SEJ. And following that election, I kind of started to get involved in the SEJ kind of Facebook groups and stuff like that. And that's, as you know, that's where we connected.
So outside of church, what else do you do in your life?
So, as a senior, I've been, of course, applying to many colleges, and I recently have just committed to Mercer University. Not really entirely sure what I'm going to study yet, but it's going to be something involving government, possibly international affairs. I'm hoping to pick up another language and also continue my Spanish studies. I know that whatever I do, though, I want to definitely have it be in some sort of nonprofit sector, potentially in a non-governmental organization. I've actually grown quite passionate about the fight against AIDS recently. I'm just really excited, looking forward to the future. Some of my hobbies include writing. I enjoy playing board games, also reading. I'm actually also working on publishing one of my first poetry anthologies at the moment. Also, over the past year, I have interned with my local county government, and I'm hoping to continue my political involvement and hopefully climb the ranks through that as well.
Thank you for sharing with us. Let's talk a little bit about QLAG. What are you hoping to get out of this?
So, with this whole podcast thing, I'm hoping really to highlight, kind of as I mentioned, the work and kind of the hearts of our LGBT laity across our conferences. I'm also hoping that we can kind of build a community and a connection with each other as in order to kind of share with our common experience and common backgrounds, we can kind of connect and build a community. I'm also hoping that we can kind of get resources out there on how people can prepare their own legislation, how to kind of carry floor debate, just kind of equipping everyone to kind of get out there and fight for social justice, really. Now, I'm not really sure where QLAG is going to go beyond 2020 yet, as that's still in discussion, but I'm very hopeful for this organization and for the future. And I think that brings us to our conclusion. Riley, can you kind of go over how everyone can connect with us and the future plans for this podcast?
Yeah, no problem. So as you all know, you can reach us on Facebook at the handle QLAG. You can find me on all social medias at the handle at Riley Standifer.
And you can find me as either at Elijah.Shoaf or Elijah_Shoaf. I'm sure you'll be able to find me.
Yeah, and be on the lookout on the QLAG Facebook page for future podcasts. Thank you for listening.
Yep. And just a reminder, next month in March, we will be interviewing Riley. Thank you, everyone.